All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Fuel channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, and we give our takes on professional wrestling. This is your Smackdown review, Friday night, January 17th, 2025. I really didn't do Raw and SmackDown reviews here on the Big Fight Fuel channel at all in 2024. I mostly did the pay-per-views, but as we get into 2025, and in my honest opinion, the TV might be better than the pay-per-views. I'm just saying that. WWE television might be better than the pay-per-views. And it's completely the opposite with AEW because the TV sometimes could be really bad with AEW, but when it comes to pay-per-views, they absolutely deliver. When it's WWE, I feel like their television shows, they're great most of the time. And sometimes the PLEs, I don't think they're all that great. But I am going to make it more of a priority in 2025 to review Raw and SmackDown here on the Big Five Fuel channel. So we're reviewing SmackDown tonight. SmackDown from San Diego. It was alright. It wasn't bad. It did move to 3 hours 2 weeks ago, and I will have to admit, I'm still getting used to the 3 hour time slot for SmackDown because I think, for most fans, when Raw moved to 2 hours back in October, we liked that a lot. We got used to the 2 hour time slot for Monday Night Raw, and now with Raw on Netflix, they don't really have a time slot. Like some weeks, Triple H said they can go 3.5 hours, they can go 2.5 hours, which they went on Monday with Penta's debut, which by the way, great debut. A really damn good match with Chad Gable. The promo after the match was better than the match with Chad Gable. He came off like an absolute star in that promo. So, shout out to Penta for an amazing debut Monday night on Raw. And shout out to the WWE production and Triple H for the phenomenal execution with that debut. But with Raw being 2 hours at the end of the year, we kind of got used to that 2 hour time slot. And now we're going back to 3 on SmackDown. And the issue now with the 3 hour time slot on SmackDown is SmackDown has a roster that is built for 2 hours. And when you have that, some points of the show, it feels like a drag. Like most of the time, you're sitting there watching the show. It's 9:30. You're like, okay, I'm getting ready for the main event. The main event's about to come on. And now with this 3 hours, it's like, gosh, it's a long time before the main event comes on. And with the result of these 3 hours, a common trend on SmackDown last week, the week before, and this week is Triple H is giving us longer matches. That doesn't necessarily mean that the matches are good. It just means that, hey, we are going to make the matches longer to kill more time on the show. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's something that I'm noticing while watching SmackDown. So, the show was all right. It wasn't terrible. It was all right for what it was. There was some really good things on the show. There were some things that I didn't really care about on the show. Jacob Fatu was my favorite part of the entire show. We will get into that and what happened with him tonight. Seems like WWE's got a big angle coming. And I'm not the biggest Solo Sikoa fan. I think he's really, really, really slow in the ring, but this could set up for some exciting stuff between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. We got a tease of Charlotte Flair returning, and we got more of this same stuff with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, and we now have a big segment coming up between them next week at Saturday Night Main Event. So we'll talk about it all. But I thank you guys so much for joining me. Be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. We are back full time with the wrestling content. Football season's over, so yeah, man, it's exciting times. It's almost WrestleMania season. We're 2 weeks away. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got so much exciting stuff coming up that we are going to be talking about. We're going to be reviewing Raw, AEW, Dynamite, and SmackDown every week here on the Big Fight Field channel. And I will get it out of the way now. Not reviewing Raw on Monday, and there will be weeks where I don't review the show because I'm either busy or I'm out somewhere. So I'm not gonna. It's not like I'm not gonna say I'm gonna review every week, but there's gonna be most of the weeks where I am on here talking about the shows. Like this Monday, Raw, I won't be watching it. Why? Because I'm gonna be watching Ohio State and Notre Dame in the national championship of college football. So, we'll pick up with things Wednesday night for AEW. So, let's go ahead and let's get into the show. They were in San Diego, and, I forgot to mention this, but one of my favorite things on the show was the first 2 minutes with Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett walking backstage, out to the crowd, walking through the crowd, right to the commentary desk, hyping up the show, talking about the main event, talking about the matches on the show. And it's the little things like that that make things feel important. And shout out to whoever's idea that was, because that was really badass. And Joe Tessitore, he's a phenomenal college football play-by-play. He is awesome. If you're a college football fan, listen to him in the Georgia Tech-Georgia game in the last week of the season, or listen to him in the Peach Bowl in the college playoff between Texas and Arizona State. He is awesome as a play-by-play college football commentator, but he was made to be a WWE commentator. He really gels in well, and he really works well with Wade Barrett. So I love Joe Tessitore. The opening was really cool with them walking through the crowd. So they were in San Diego tonight, so who opened up the show but the hometown guy, Rey Mysterio. He welcomes the crowd to SmackDown. He talks about his career and all his accolades. He did do a short interview where he welcomed Penta to the WWE, and he said that, he might have some big shoes to fill in the future, but I'm shocked tonight, not one word of Penta. He didn't say a thing about Penta in this promo. It was more about him and his accolades and the fact that in 2006, he won the Royal Rumble match, and he went on to win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 22. And he plans on doing the same thing this year, although the difference with this year, the 2006, is the Royal Rumble match is stacked this year. He says you got Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, John Cena, LA Knight, and Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble match. So it's going to be harder now more than ever to win the Royal Rumble. And out comes Kevin Owens, and he says how much he respects Rey Mysterio, and of course, Kevin Owens has his Winged Eagle Championship. He says, I don't really admire or I don't really respect much people in this business, but I do respect you, Rey Mysterio. And he says, I've had a good enough career where I've had some great moments in my career. He says, I wrestled Stone Cold Steve Austin in the main event of WrestleMania. He said, I won the tag team titles with my then best friend, Sami Zayn, at WrestleMania in the main event. And he says, one thing I haven't done in my career is wrestle the legendary Hall of Famer, Rey Mysterio. And he says, when you win he says, I just need a promise for one thing. When you win the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania, choose me to be your opponent so that I could have my dream match at WrestleMania of all places. Rey says you're not the champion and all that stuff, and Kevin snaps. Kevin attacks him. Rey Mysterio counters his move. He tries to hit the 619, but Kevin leaves. And then we get back from commercial break, and Rey is speaking with Nick Aldis, and he requests a match with Kevin Owens later on tonight, and he gets his wish. So we're getting Kevin Owens versus Rey Mysterio later on in the show. Naomi and Bianca Belair against Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. This is an example of Triple H dragging out matches to fill out time during the show. It's like last week with the Fatal 4-Way number one contender match. That Fatal 4-Way with Bianca and Naomi and Nia Jax and Bayley, that match lasted 20 minutes. And I'm not saying that was good, but that was a very long match. This match felt pretty long too. And I'm not saying this match was good. I'm not saying this match was bad. This match just felt really long. And maybe I could have seen them giving the win to Nia and Candice to set up a tag team title match. But not Jade, she's still out. She got attacked before War Games. They mentioned her on television, and we still don't know who her attacker is. And Bianca and Naomi get the win after Naomi hits Candice with the rear view, and they celebrate with the tag team titles. And this past Tuesday on NXT, Lash Legend and Jakar Jackson won a number one contender match for the tag team championships. So they will be getting their shot at Naomi and Bianca Belair in 2 weeks on NXT in Atlanta. Jimmy Uso versus Carmelo Hayes. Couple back and forth backstage interactions led to this match tonight. The match was good. Seems like Jay he's already had his moments as a singles wrestler. Seems like he's going back to single. I would like to see WWE have Jimmy go single for a little bit longer. Let's see what he could do in a big spot. Maybe put him in a singles match or a multi-man match at WrestleMania. I'm not really sure, but I'm really curious. If Jimmy's going to go on a singles run, I'm really curious to see how he's going to do. I'm excited for Jimmy. He had a good match tonight with Carmelo Hayes. It was a good match. Carmelo bumped his ass off for Jimmy in this match. Suicide dive. Carmelo goes flying on the outside. Carmelo got so much height on this Samoan drop. It was awesome, and it looked really good. He sold a crap for the super kick 2 times in a row. He hit a jumping code breaker. He missed his finisher. I can't remember what the name was, but the finish was Jimmy was going to the top rope to hit the Uso splash to finish off Carmelo Hayes. But he looks at the other side of the ring, and there stands Jacob Fatu. And Jacob Fatu standing there, and Tama Tonga shoves Jimmy from behind, and they attack Jimmy, ending the match in a DQ. And they're doing hip attack to the ring post twice. Tama Tonga hits him with a draping DDT. And then out comes Solo Sikoa. And at this point in the show, this was the best thing the entire night. So we get back from commercial. Solo is standing there with a microphone in hand. The crowd is relentlessly booing at Solo Sikoa. And Jacob Fatu shouts in the microphone, "Shut the hell up," when Solo is speaking. They still continue to boo. And this guy doesn't get a word off. This guy doesn't get a word out. He just drops the microphone. He exits the ring, and he exits the arena, and he takes his jacket off. And you know someone, when you get that million-mile stare, they're pissed. Jacob Fatu gave Solo Sikoa that million-mile stare, and he looked livid. He said, "I'm tired of the disrespect. I'm tired of the hate." He says, "Y'all ain't got nothing on me. On my worst day, I'm still him, and I'm still that guy." And he says, "What's crazy is, y'all think I'm crazy. Y'all think I'm unhinged." He says, "I don't care if you cheer us. I don't care if you boo us. But one thing for damn sure is you are going to fear us." Something along the line like that. I can't remember what it was. But then he says, "Y'all think I'm crazy now? Y'all think I'm unhinged? Y'all think I'm uncontrollable?" He says, "I'm just getting started." Or the crazy thing is, I'm just getting started. And WWE needs to give Jacob Fatu the microphone more often. This was fucking great. This was great. And what's so unique about this is he doesn't sound like the guy where in WWE they have you read a script before you go out and you cut your promos. At least for some people, they don't have scripts. But for most of the guys, they do have scripts. He sounds like the type of guy that he's not talking like he's trying to memorize a script. He's talking out of straight passion. And that's what I love so much when Jacob Fatu talks. It's his passion. And that's what it's all about. He sounded awesome. The crowd reacted to him. And, you know, he talked for a little bit last week in the entrance to the ring. This week he got a live microphone for I literally think the first time in his run in WWE. So what they need to do here on out is they need to give that man a microphone more often. So After he cuts his great promo, out comes LA Knight. Last week, LA Knight shoved Jacob Fatu out the door, and then they costed LA Knight, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. They costed LA Knight a chance at the United States Championship. So, LA Knight's trying to get revenge tonight. They easily take him out 2-on-1. And then out comes Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's running down the ring, or speed walking, I should say. He catches Tama Tonga. He throws him to the barricade. He gets in the ring with Jacob Fatu. They're circling around the ring. Tonga pulls Fatu out of the ring, and he says, "We're going to save this for another time." So, listen. I'm not the biggest Braun Strowman fan at all. I honestly hate Braun Strowman. I think he's overrated as hell. He's not fucking good. But he's good with big man matches. Like his match with Bronson Reed was really fucking good. And what they did tonight was they booked Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu for Saturday night's main event. And that's a match. That's a Braun Strowman match that I can actually get excited over. Now, what should happen in this match? Jacob Fatu should absolutely destroy Braun Strowman. Jacob Fatu should be beating the crap out of these guys here on out. Jacob Fatu is a priority now. And now it's his time. And I feel like after tonight, we're setting up a match between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. It sounds like, in hindsight, he's like, I ain't listening to anybody anymore. And what he's been saying, Solo, I love you. Or I love you, Solo. That's what it was. I love you, Solo. Pretty soon, he's going to say, I hate you, Solo. And when he beats down Solo Sikoa and he beats the shit out of Solo, I'm making a prediction now that the crowd is going to cheer him because they hate Solo so much, and WWE's going to have to turn him into a babyface. And I feel like babyface Jacob Fatu cutting promos on the microphone is going to be so fucking awesome. I'm really interested in what happens next with Jacob Fatu. And next week, I can't believe I'm about to say this, I might actually be excited about a Braun Strowman match. I can't believe I just said that, but that match could be really fucking good. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to move along quickly with the next two segments. B-Fab versus Piper Niven. Piper Niven wins. And then after the match, her and Chelsea Green continue to beat down B-Fab until Michin makes the save. And her and Piper, they're going back and forth. And I don't know why they're still feuding, Michin and Chelsea. Chelsea won the inaugural match at Saturday Night Main Event in December. She beat her last week. Let's move on. But I don't know. They're killing time at this point. Motor City Machine Guns versus Garza and Humberto. This match was fine. I feel like Motor City can work with any team. They had a really good match with A-Town Down Under last week. This match wasn't better than the one last week. It was fine. There was interference from Pretty Deadly. I guess Pretty Deadly and DIY are like working together to make sure Motor City, they're not the number one contenders, and Pretty Deadly are. So I guess per DIY, they wanted Pretty Deadly to go out there and cost Motor City the match. It blew up in their face. Motor City saw it coming. They hit Skull and Bones on Berto. They got the win. This is probably leading towards a rematch sooner rather than later, maybe, between DIY and Motor City. I doubt they wait till WrestleMania to do this rematch again. If they are doing this match at WrestleMania, maybe it's a stipulation match. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they do a gimmick match with these guys, but yeah. And now they're setting up Pretty Deadly against Motor City next week on Smackdown. We go to hour 3. Hour 3 of the show. Rey Mysterio against Kevin Owens. Good match. Crowd was obviously into it because of the hometown guy. Rey, this was the finish of the match. Rey got the 619. He got the 619 onto Kevin Owens. But as he was going up to the top rope, Kevin was stumbling and he bumped into the referee. It cost Rey Mysterio to fall off the ropes. Kevin grabbed him, hit the pop-up powerbomb, got the win over Rey Mysterio. And then after the match, he grabs Rey. He tries to hit that pile driver onto him. Cody Rhodes comes out, and we get another brawl. And I feel like I've seen this before between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. And listen, the feud's been good. Okay? For most weeks, the feud's been good. But this is my opinion, and my opinion only. Some other people might have this. I don't know. But this feud peaked at Saturday Night Main Event. They had a good match. Cody retained. Crossroads onto the steel chair. So Kevin felt cheated. That a babyface cheated to win the match. Yes, he should feel cheated. So he took actions into his own manners. He beat the shit out of Cody. He hit the package pile driver onto Cody. He stole the Wing Eagle title, shoved Triple H, all that stuff. This feud peaked at that show. That's the best that they're going to get out of that feud was the ending of that show. And I feel like it's been the same thing. It's been the same thing every week. Since the last 3 weeks, it's been Kevin is going to insult somebody, and he's going to hit the pile driver, and Cody's going to come out. He tried to hit the pile driver onto Roman Reigns, and he came out. He tried to hit the pile driver, he distracted Cody in the main event last week, and Cody chased after him and basically said, fuck you to Jimmy Uso. This week, he was about to hit the package pile driver onto Rey. We get another brawl. I feel like it's the same thing the last 3 weeks with these guys. And at this point, I feel like they're just waiting till the Royal Rumble to get this over with. And Randy Orton's probably going to come back then. And let's move on. And Kevin Owens is probably heading towards a match at WrestleMania with Randy Orton. So, we then, before the main event, had a tease of Charlotte Flair making her return. They said she's a 14-time women's champion. They showed most of her title wins. They showed a photo shoot of her on a yacht, posing, and it's teasing that she will be returning very soon. She's probably more than likely going to be returning to the Smackdown brand. It's been rumored for months now that she's going to work a feud with Tiffany Stratton. it was reported back in November that when Charlotte returns, that WWE wants her to work with Tiffany Stratton, whether that's at WrestleMania or another show. It's going to happen. And then WrestleVotes tweeted out this week that the word is that when Charlotte does return, she is going to wrestle Tiffany Stratton, and it is going to be at WrestleMania. So whether she wins the Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber to get to that point, we'll find out sooner rather than later. But speaking of Tiffany Stratton, she was in the main event tonight. She defended her WWE Women's Championship against Bayley after Bayley won the number one contendership last week. Roxanne Perez was sitting at ringside after their confrontation on Tuesday on NXT. Bayley's entrance started at 10:29, which at that point they had 31 minutes left in the show. And I'm like, boy, this is going to be a long main event. So the beginning was fine. It was good. Tiffany was doing a bunch of counters, which wowed the crowd. She looked good. Tiffany's awesome. She can talk. She's got charisma. She's really good. She's a really good professional wrestler. In such a short span, she is a really good wrestler. Tiffany is. And the middle of the match, it drags a little bit. The last 10 minutes, great stuff though. Counter for counter. Bayley hits the elbow off the top rope. Tiffany kicks out. Tiffany hit a cartwheel into the Alabama Slam, and Bayley kicked out. And then they were fighting on the outside, and Bayley got in Roxanne's face, and I'm like, you are a babyface doing a heel tactic. That's usually what a heel does, is they get distracted in their match and they talk shit on the babyface who's over the barricade watching. This time, Bayley, the babyface, gets distracted by Roxanne, the heel, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're in a championship match, and you're more worried about someone on NXT? Get out of here, man. But she gets back in the ring. She nearly wins the match, but Tiffany hits another cartwheel Alabama Slam. Then she hits the BME for the finish, retains the championship, clean as a whistle. So we didn't get Roxanne costing Bayley the match. She just stood there and watched. And I thought for sure that we were going to get some finish that was not going to result in a clean win for Tiffany. I thought it was going to be either Roxanne costing Bayley the match or something after the match where we set up a match with Nia, because that's probably got to happen. That's got to happen eventually, I think. Or a Charlotte return, but that's probably happening at the Royal Rumble. So we're probably getting both Charlotte and Becky returning at the Royal Rumble. And I'm not sure if I'm too thrilled about that. I'll talk about that later on in the next couple weeks as we head towards the Royal Rumble. So overall, the show was all right. I'm not saying it was bad, and I'm not saying it was great either. But overall, I'll give it a thumbs up. So that's all I got for tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. Comment down below your thoughts on Smackdown. Follow me on Twitter, Conlon_Joseph. And remember, no Raw review on Monday. I will be watching the National Championship between Ohio State and Notre Dame. Might even do a post-game recap of that game. Depends how I feel on Monday night. So, I'm out. Have a great weekend. And as usual, stay classy. And I'm out. Peace.